welcome to Rotted Reviews, and today I'm coming at you with a singular movie review, but before I get into that, what I'd first like to do is ask you a couple of questions. Have you been watching my content? Have you been enjoying it? Have you clicked like, subscribe, or rung that bell? For a major channel, that can mean the difference between the 1,347,352nd and the 353rd subscriber. But with a small channel like mine, it really makes a huge impact. Every single click matters. So if you have been watching my stuff and if you have been enjoying it, please click like and subscribe. It really does help me out a lot. So today what I'd like to do is talk about a movie that I kind of stumbled ass backwards into, the 2012 film, I Am a Ghost. Written and directed by H.P. Mendoza, this introduces us to the character of Emily, played by Anna Ishida, as somebody that is kind of just, well, meandering around a house, walking up and down the hallways, checking into rooms, mopping the floors, leaving to go on grocery runs, and in major props to some cast iron seasoning efforts there, cooking eggs in a pan. And this just kind of continues on. It's a very slow-paced beginning, and we see her repeat these events over and over, but it's not like she's doing the same things, frequently. It's that she's doing the exact same things in the exact same ways. We're watching things repeat perfectly. Until she gets into one particular room and she starts hearing the voice of Sylvia. And Sylvia explains to Emily that she is in fact dead, Emily that is, and is a ghost and is trying to communicate with her from the other side. Sylvia is a medium that's trying to make contact and help Emily ascend into the next plane of existence. But to do that, she needs to get Emily to acknowledge the fact that she is a ghost, the fact that she is dead, and how to move forward with reconciling whatever past issues that she needs to get clear off her plate to move on to the next stage. Unfortunately, this is kind of hampered by the fact that anytime Emily freaks out or gets kind of startled and leaves the room, everything resets itself. For everybody, that is, except for Sylvia, who basically continues trying to make contact. And every time they have the conversation is like, I know you said you won't leave the room. I know you said you're not going to get startled. That's what you said the last 17 times, but here we are. And the rest of the movie is kind of taking place on that level of mystery. What's going on? How did she die? What unfinished business does she have? How can she resolve this with the help of Sylvia to get to the next plane of existence? So this kind of plays out in a similar manner to Groundhog Day kind of storylines, but very differently at the same time because our main character is unaware of her situation. The only person that is aware of this loop is somebody that only has a passive verbal element of control for it. Everything about this is a matter of communication between the two to get the job done and the mystery that unfolds from there. Now, this is a very low budget, very kind of slow moving to get going kind of film. And I'll be honest, as a film critic or an aspiring film critic, there's a level of objectivity that I have to kind of put into place here. And it feels like the ultimate failure is when I'm basically saying that it either works or it doesn't work, but I don't know why. I should be able to come up with a reason or two why this works or doesn't. And if I can't, well, that's just kind of a sullied mark on my name there. That being said, this movie works. And I don't know why. For something that is slow, for something that does repeat the scenes a lot, and for something that is carried entirely, or damn near entirely, by one singular performance, this movie captivated me. It had all the earmarks of just making me fall asleep, but it didn't. I was invested. I wanted Emily to figure this out. I wanted to follow her around as she's going through the same motions over and over, but things start kind of progressing as she gets a little bit more information from Sylvia and starts to kind of take that along with her, and the next scenes of her doing the same repeated motions of looking in the rooms, doing some cleaning, doing some cooking, start to kind of get a little bit more elaborate, start to get a little bit more play in them. I was riveted. Now, that's not to say that the movie didn't have its faults. It most certainly did. The aesthetic of it was kind of hampered by budget. There was a kind of sterility to the situation and to the environment that almost played well for this, but at the same time did feel, honestly, just a little bit cheap. Furthermore, in terms of explaining the mystery and fleshing out the details of this, I'm going to do my best to keep this as spoiler-free as possible. This utilized a story mechanic and a character mechanic that, honestly, it's a three-letter acronym that is extremely overused and often extremely lazy in writing. However, I will say that actually to the way that this used that to a particular effect in terms of establishing this well-worn trope, but actually putting it within this context was rather intriguing. And the final resolution for this, the final ending, again, spoiler-free as possible, I think is going to be rather divisive. For me, it worked. But I can see how some people could be deflated by it, could be even upset by it. IMDb currently has an estimated budget of this film of $10,000, and I don't know how accurate that is. That honestly seems low. If it's actually accurate, then I'm going to say that they pulled off some amazing shit for the buck, because that's a really low amount of money. So I'm not going to stand up here and say that it was movie of the year or anything even remotely close to that. What I will say is that this was a very low budget, a very simple concept, and something that shouldn't have worked but somehow did, and because of all of those reasons, I find myself enthralled by it. And so even though I'm not going to even try to make the claim that this is the best movie of 2012 or anything along those lines, I do say that I emphatically recommend it. If you've never heard of this one, I do recommend giving it a shot. It's currently available on Hoopla, Vudu, and Tubi. So if you're in the States or anywhere that Tubi has access, I do recommend giving it a shot. It's totally free. Just give it a whirl. It has some ads, but it's well worth it. And I have no issue giving this movie a full recommendation. This has my seal of approval, whatever that's worth. Thank you again for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Again, if you like this, please click like and subscribe. It means the entirety of the world to me. And remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.